Hey guys, Pete Ramsey here, HVAC Greatness. I wanted to share something with you. This was a pretty important point. I put this post up on Facebook and got some responses. A lot of HVAC contractors are out there and they have different opinions on this. But the question was, who else would love to learn how to sell HVAC without selling? And a lot of people chime in with their opinions. And there's some good opinions in here. But I would venture to say that many of these are just the tip of the iceberg. Jeff here had a good point. It's pretty simple. Educate and provide options. Well, I can remember back when I had my business in North Carolina in the 90s, and I carried this approach and only this approach forward, and it really was painful. I was a train dealer at the time, and I would go in and I would do a load calculation. I would measure all the windows, the doors, look at the orientation of the house, look at the ductwork, redesign where needed. I would come up with just the perfect application, the best train system, later Lennox. I did some Carrier, whatever. The best equipment solution for that particular homeowner. I spent 2-3 hours out there, and I just really educated and helped them narrow down to the option that was absolutely the best system for their house. And then they thanked me very much, big smiles on their face. They would think about it, and they would call the other train dealers in town and utilize my design and say, I want you to quote this system, this design, this installation. In other words, they would use me in order to, they trusted in what I educated them with, and they trusted my options, but they didn't buy from me. They still bought on the money emotion. And the money emotion is the easy one. That's the low-hanging fruit that everybody gets, right? Bob Roy chimed in and says, bingo, do that every day. Less pressure equals more likely to buy. And I agree. But again, we're looking at the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more to this if they will buy from you. And consumers are changing. We have younger generations that are coming in. They're much less loyal. And if we don't understand how to connect with them emotionally. And now, Pete, you're getting airy-fairy. No, I'm not talking about, hugging on them or anything like this. We're talking about decisions are made for emotional reasons. They call them emotional triggers. And that's what we have to do. I draw some diagrams of the units too. That's awesome. You'd be surprised. People have no idea what an evaporator coil is or why a properly sized filter plenum is so important. I agree. They just don't know. Bob, that's great. Those are great points. But until you differentiate yourself at that deeper level, they're using the logical mind. But remember, the logical decision, that's how we sell. We tend to do that. We appeal to the logic because it makes sense, is a justification in reality. It's not their decision in most cases. They choose a contractor for an emotional reason. Sometimes it's price because they don't know any better. But a well-designed system is for other reasons. And then they justify that emotional decision with the logic. Everything that you educated them, Jeff. Everything that you educated them, Bob. Sorry. Those are great points. Ken chimed in and said, I have used Service Tech to sell and offer options for years. When it's out of warranty, R22 or major repair, he closes 99%. Come on, Ken. You didn't measure that figure. You just made that up, 99%. The majority. But you ain't selling equipment, he says. You're selling yourself. Bingo. But are you truly selling yourself? Or are you just another heating and air conditioning commodity like I was, and they can go get that from anybody? So let's go with the cheapest one. He goes on to say it depends on the customer, but most customers trust the guy crawling out of the attic than an advisor or salesman after the fact. Well, I would say that they trust the guy, the technician, more because they perceive him as an expert, and the advisor or salesman less because They are considering the fact that this guy's trying to make a commission off me. He's trying to sell me. He's trying to push me into doing something I may not want to do. And so by default, yeah, the technicians tend to do a better job at closing. But where they fall short is they are experts on getting equipment operating as it should. They fix things. They calibrate things. They return them to proper operation. But unless they've been designed on load calculations, on duct design, on proper application, proper equipment selection, understanding sensible heat and latent heat and the psychometrics, all of airflow, all of these different things that go into the design, well, what you're going to end up having are low ticket equipment sales for your customers who deserve high-end sales. They deserve a proper design. You're the one with a license, right? You're the one that went and studied all these different aspects of the trade, and you can go in and do a system design that improves the quality of their home life if you choose to take the time. Oh, but Pete, people won't pay for that. Well, you'd be surprised. When I'm saying selling without selling, we're talking about communicating to a level within their subconscious that they can't help but respond to. Now, not every customer is going to be your customer, but once you learn who that customer is and you learn what emotional triggers that you need to pull, and you learn how to incorporate this in every aspect of your identity, your processes, your systems, your marketing, then you're onto something. And to Jeff's point, to Bob's point, to Ken's point, all of these things are important. All these things are important. You know, I even agreed. I used to wear the same uniform as my technicians, and it was just an easier sale. But again, there are rules to this. The game is changing, and you don't want to just try to keep up. Wouldn't it be nice to lead the charge? Guys, it's time to raise the bar. It's time to reverse engineer your entire operation so that it sells at the emotional level. And if you don't think that is a fact, think about the last vehicle that you bought and the emotion that you felt when you bought that car, that truck. And then how you justified the purchase. Well, you know, it gets better gas mileage. You know, I really have to communicate success in my business if I'm going to sell. Blah, blah, blah. You're justifying with a logic, but you bought emotionally. Pete Ramsey here, HVAC Greatness. Talk to you on the next one. Bye-bye.